It's snack time. I'm your host, Marno, and joining us today is my friend Justin, who is sharing his snack, Calbee Shrimp Chips. Hi, Justin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Wait, why are you laughing?
I don't know. I just got the fits.
Okay, listeners, snackers, we have been on this Zoom call for almost an hour now, and we've just been like being goobers.
Friends just want to catch up with friends.
Yeah. We took a BTS music video break like at the halfway point. It was yeah.
I've
Um
I've been on a K-pop poll, which also might lead why I wanted to talk about this snack.
I mean it makes sense. You just are like really I think leaning into your Asianness and I am like so here for it, you know?
I'm here for it too. The Asian food is like I think my comfort food.
Mhm, same. Okay, so Justin has been on Snack Time before, but for the snackers who have yet to listen to Justin's snack opinions and feelings. Justin, are you a salty or sweet snacker?
I would say I'm a true verse queen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a
Mm-hmm.
verse hitter. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's like really goes with my mood and time
Yes.
of what's going on. But I find value in both.
Respect, respect. But if you could only pick one.
Oh my God. I guess it would have to be salty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Why?
Yeah. No, my God. I
Here
forgot
at
what it's
Snack
like.
Time, we
I
talk
forgot.
about the tough questions.
I forgot what it's like to be on the show. It's like really
Hard
getting in
hitting
there.
journalism, I know.
Seriously, between it's like racism and social justice, and then it's like sweet and salty. What is it? What's your stance? Like, do you believe in QAnon or do you like Doritos? It's like
Oh my
what's happening?
god. Okay, well, I'm a lover of all snacks as well,
I
but
mean, yeah, your
I have
podcast. I get
very
it.
salty. I guess that makes sense. What if I was like, everyone who likes sweet snacks can go fuck themselves? It's like, okay, then why do you have a podcast about snacks? It should be called Salty Time. No, but I do like both salty and sweet, but I find myself craving salty a lot more than sweet. Sweet, I know this is so cliche, but I crave sweet when I'm PMSing or on my
Mm,
period. So, yeah, that's the tea for me. But what
I
is it about
yeah.
salty for you?
Well, no, see, this is the thing. I'm like true Libra rising in that it's very indecisive. And when I go down the middle and like, hold on, let me say why I have to defend this. Because if I look
Okay.
at my snack counter right now, my snacks that I have are like chocolate covered pretzels,
Yeah.
or they're cookies with like, I make sure it's like a sea salt on top of it, or if
Mm-hmm.
it's like,
Wait, though. So you're saying if you have a sweet, you want it to have a little bit of salty, but when you have a salty, does it always have a little bit of sweet? There you have it. Because I'm the
oh,
same way. But you know what Kevin
okay.
has pointed out, which it's really funny that you guys are going to be back to back episodes because we are the three Filipinos in our like friend group. But Filipino cuisine is very salty, sweet,
Mhm.
sometimes sour. So it's like it's in our taste just
It's
from
like on our palate that like,
yeah.
and I think that's also where it goes into um, even just like Asian cuisine. I don't know if you've had like Korean style pizzas where they have like the sweet potato, or
I
like
haven't
we
had
just
it, but
had.
they look so good.
Okay, next time you have me on, we'll do a taste test and I'll bring you. There's this K Town pizza down the street from where I'm at, and
Oh
they
my
have
god.
a sweet potato one, a surf and turf on a hash brown crust, and then they have it's like a meat lovers, but it's on a like a mochi chocolate mochi crust with a cream
What?
cheese filling.
I
Yes,
literally have chills right now.
it's like if I didn't have such a crazy week, I was gonna suggest that and like bring it to
Oh,
you.
that
But
would be
like,
so
yeah,
fun.
no, the chocolate one was so surprisingly good. But yeah, I'll bring well
Oh.
next time. Next time.
Okay. So do you agree? Do you think you're Salty?
Yeah, but that's what life's done to me. I've been salty about. But as far as palate, I guess you do. You did
Yeah.
unlock something there. It is salty, but
Right,
I do crave.
right.
Yeah, okay.
Got it. Gotcha.
His Scotch journalism is really crushing. I thought I was
Wow.
good with therapy, but we got something new to talk about, I guess.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, salty makes sense because the snack that you brought today is shrimp chips. And this is a snack that is like so near and dear to my heart. Like, I don't eat them all the time, but when I do, it literally transports me back to childhood. It
Yeah.
is, and there's so many emotions linked to shrimp chips because like it was a snack that you were being brave if you brought this snack to school.
Yes, but okay.
Growing
So
up in white suburbia in the early 2000s, like, yeah.
it I so I have a different, very emotional response to it because when I was younger, I moved so much as a kid that like up until between third and seventh grade, I
Mm-hmm.
moved to four different schools.
Wow.
And I remember, like, I have a large Filipino family, a lot of like my cousins and everything. We would always eat these together. And it was like when you bring it to school, it's like a very pungent aroma that comes out
Mm-hmm.
when you open it. And only like, um, Asian people usually were aware or like knew what you were eating. So when
Yep.
I would move to the schools and I'd bring them, it was like an an entry point into the like Asian kids at the school.
Mm-hmm.
And um, like growing up mixed, you don't really have like cultural norms that are
Yeah.
easy entry. Like if it's like a language or something, I really thought about this before I came on. So this is why this has
Oh,
been
I mean, this is something that I like think about a lot, and especially as I've started to kind of untangle like who I am as a person and how I got here. I think being mixed race and very racially ambiguous has a lot to do with who I am today.
isn't it wild. And then I think what's one thing that I've come to get from listening to your show is also how much of a like entry point food and like snacks really are into like any
Mm-hmm.
kind of conversation with people, and it's like a universal thing, so it's really
Oh,
beautiful. Your show's really beautiful and like
wow. Wait.
groundbreaking.
Okay, but like not joking, like being serious, like that really means a lot because that is kind of the basis of why I started this show. And I mean, I think I've talked about this before, maybe in like the very early episodes, but this podcast idea actually was not originally going to be a podcast. This was like an idea that I've had for a really long time as like a dream TV show program or a dream YouTube show where I go possibly visit my friends and either they make a snack or we make a snack together or they just bring their favorite like already ready to eat snack, whatever it is, and we just literally share a snack, eat it together, chat, just be silly and goofy, and like see how the starting point as a snack of conversation can really take you so many places because like food is so entangled in who we are as people and like how you identify
Mm-hmm.
and how you were raised, where you grew up. Like food is like amazing, and I truly like love talking about food. I love hearing other people talk about food, whether it's actually making it and the recipe or like the history behind it, cultures that eat it. I mean, I could talk about it forever. So that's like why I started this podcast. So it really means a lot for you to say that it's made you realize like how important food is, because that's something that I really truly believe.
Yeah, so if you want like half of my therapy funds for the month, because this like literally when I was thinking about it and you had me like pick between the two topics that we had,
Uh-huh.
I like really started thinking about it. And I was like, oh my God, like this is how I met my like best friend in elementary school. This was like
Oh.
how when I went and moved to new schools, like I would be able to like talk to kids that understood it, you know, like it was my
Yeah.
entry to talk and like, I don't know, develop more of myself. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is wild how much food unlocks.
And so interesting now that we're talking about how this food, at least at school, played a role in who we interacted with, because
Mm-hmm.
I think I would bring it as a snack, but not that often. And I mean, I think this just speaks to the demographic that I grew up in elementary school with, but there weren't many Asian kids. And I honestly, in elementary school, don't remember bringing shrimp chips and being able to connect with anyone. I think it's something that made me feel more isolated from others, at least the people that I ate snack around or my friends at the time. Um yeah, something smelling fishy was like not something that most kids I grew up with would find appealing in a snack. I actually remember in first grade, I had a friend, Nicole Wan, and funnily enough, we've still just like follow each other on social media. And over the past year, I think it was in the summertime, she actually reached out to me because she saw my collage art and she wanted to order a print for her friend for his birthday. And we hadn't talked in years, maybe even decades, because we were friends in, I think, just first grade. And then from
Mm-hmm.
there, at some point, she moved schools and we didn't really ever interact again. How did we even find each other on Facebook? I have no idea. Maybe just through like mutual friends and stuff, but I remember she brought pot stickers to school for lunch, and I freaking love pot stickers. I've loved them my whole life. Didn't ever think anything strange of that. Like, they were just food that I ate at home sometimes. And so I saw that she brought them for lunch, and I was like, oh my gosh, did you bring pot stickers for lunch? And she shared them with me, but other kids in the class were like, it smells bad. They like scooched away from the table. And I don't have like a lot of like vivid memories from my like early childhood. Like, we're talking like maybe 6 years old. But my
Mm.
mom remembers a story and she like recalls it pretty often because in first grade, I also somehow got into a group of girls that were making fun of our friend Chad, who I was in first grade with, and then his friend Grant. And I guess they were calling them, like, I think there was just like a little like back and forth, like teasing each other kind of thing. I honestly don't recall saying anything, but I was like sitting there with those girls and we got called into the principal's office. And my mom always tells the story that when she got the call from my first grade teacher, she was like, my Michelle? Good for her. Because at that time, I was super shy. I had not been able to really like break out of my shell. I hadn't found my sense of humor yet, I don't think at all. That came a few years later. Which actually I think was a defense mechanism because that's when I started to gain weight. I used to be really skinny. Like in first grade I was like stick thin. Um but anyway, my my first grade teacher was so surprised that I was in this group of kids that went to the principal's office for making fun of other kids because I was the one student in her class that like sat with Nicole at lunch and ate her I ate her food. It's basically I was like, that's food that I like. I'm going to go sit with her. Um but yeah, so she was kind of the only friend I had, at least like at that age, that was Asian. We did end up bonding over food. Maybe I did bring shrimp chips and she liked them. I honestly don't remember. But yeah, so shrimp chips weren't something that I was like connecting with people over. especially in elementary school. Now that I've gotten older, like through college and stuff, if other people, other Filipino people, other Asian people, it's something to bond over. Actually, the kid that I used to nanny, he loves shrimp. So I was like, oh, I'm going to bring this kid shrimp chips and see what he thinks. He loves them. So sometimes we were doing virtual school and the teacher would sometimes see the snack that he was eating, and his teacher was Filipino, and she was like, are you eating shrimp chips? He was like, yeah, my nanny Miss Michelle gave them to me. And I like popped in and I was like, yeah, they're shrimp chips. She was like, I love those. So
isn't it wild too? It's such a universal thing for most Asians. Like, just it's one of those base snacks that everyone loves. So when you see, like, I don't know, just a white person eating it, you're like, huh, good for you.
Well, and the kid I was nannying was black, actually. And his mom was like, I don't want those. But he just loves shrimp. For his birthday, for his 5th birthday, his request for dinner was pancakes and fried shrimp.
Okay.
So he had pancakes and fried shrimp.
Give Roscoe some competition.
Right? But yeah, he's so freaking funny and cute. But yeah, he loves shrimp. So next time I see him, I will definitely need to bring him a bag of shrimp chips because they're so good. Anyway, how did we even get to this? So I guess we're just talking about shrimp chips and how amazing they are. Do you have a first memory of trying them? Because I don't. I've been eating them possibly out of the womb. Like, I don't remember the first time I had them.
Yeah, it's like one of those things that I don't think I remember a first instance, but definitely like the earliest memories I have would be summers at like my grandma's house and like going to the market with her. And then like the treat that we would get is like shrimp chips or those little ones, they're like sesame seed wrapped little like those. So those ones. And then at the Filipino market, you know how you can get those little bags of the fried sardines, like, or the fried so like that would be the treats that like we would get.
Yeah.
So that's like earliest memories of having shrimp chips was just like summers with my grandma, and like that would be the snack that we get.
Okay, I didn't know that you used to spend summers with your grandma, because me and my sister, we used to go, either my parents would drive us up, because my grandparents, my Filipino grandma still to this day lives in Northern California. So either they would drive us up, or a few times I remember we would fly by ourselves. Like, that was back when your parents would like walk you to the gate. They'd give you the little like pin that has the little wings on it. And then you have like a badge and stuff, and the little attendant little. The regular size human attendant,
the tiny little flight attendant would come by with their magical clippers.
Honestly, that would be so magical. But yeah, the flight attendant would come and get you, and it was fun. I like have very fond memories of flying. Anyway, but yeah, I didn't know that you used to spend summers with your grandma too, because we did that as well for like a few weeks at a time. I think just like a week or two.
It was because my grandma lived in Long Beach when we were in either like Lakewood or Brea, not so much, but before, when we were living in Lakewood or our other house in Long Beach, we would stay with her over the summer, or we would spend the night or sleep at our own house, and then in the day or that week my parents would drop us off.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, she's like daycare kind of.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I ever told you about our so the way my grandma's house was set up, her sister and brother had houses on the other side of the street, or not on the other side, same side of the street, but like around the corner, and their backyards all connected. So when my mom and my aunt were growing up, it was like 12 or 14 cousins that were always running around between the backyards because they were all connected. And so my aunts and uncles, they still lived in those houses. So over the summers, it would just be me and usually the 5 elder cousins first, and then like we got the rest of them that were coming in anyways. But we would be staying there and just like running around between all the compound. It was nice. Yeah, and that's like that. There was so much that was unlocked this week coming up to this talk, because I was like, oh yeah, I forgot we used to do that and just like run around like monsters.
Yeah. Now, did all of your cousins like shrimp chips? Was it just like widely accepted, or were there a few that were like, I don't like shrimp?
Okay, I'll give you one guess as to the one person who did not
Brittany.
like shrimp. Yeah. Sorry to my sister, but she
Yeah,
never
she didn't get the
those
palate.
oh my god, and the anchovies I was talking about, like
Uh-huh.
she hated those because you could see their eyes and everything and would
Yeah.
just be so grossed out when we'd eat them. But she also only ate buttered rice for a long time.
Wow.
Like that was her palate. That was it.
Yeah. My sister, between the two of us, was the pickier one. She still, I believe, yeah, she likes shrimp chips, and I think she did her whole childhood, but she was the first one to, like, with um certain types of fish, or the sardines that come in like the tomato sauce, the like
Mhm.
Lego brand. So we used to eat that, and you eat the whole thing, like you crunch on the bones, like um so we used to eat that. We used to both eat dinuguan, and then she was the one, like, little by little, she was like, ew, I don't want to eat the bones, and like blah blah blah, and I don't want to eat pork's blood. And so she was the one that kind of started stepping away from like the more adventurous flavors, I guess you would say. Um, but she was also just a pickier eater in general, I think.
Do you think there was like some like social influence that happened with her, and has her palate changed now? Because I know Brittany for sure now that she's older, and I think she has more of a respect for our culture and just like acknowledges more of her Asian side. She has a lot more of appreciation for different Asian foods, and she's more willing to try the new foods when they come up.
Yeah, I think you hit the hit the nail on the head. Um, I think I mean, I was always like, I'm a weirdo. Do you see this crown that I wear? But I was always the weirder, chubbier, funnier one, and she was
You can just say
usually in the
prettier. You could just say nicer. Just come on, just do
she
it.
was no, she was usually, like, most of her childhood into high school, and I would say even college, was like deemed one of the like popular, pretty, still very smart, but like, just let's just say if we were strangers in the same age group, we would probably not have been friends.
I mean, you guys are the perfect casting for like a dueling sister rom com. We get it. Like it's
Truly though,
I'm weird.
truly.
I'm different. Michelle, why do you have to be so weird and different? Can't you just fit in?
Really.
Eat a potato chip like a normal person.
I do eat potato chips, but sometimes they taste like pickles. Or like salt and vinegar. Oh, I've just always loved vinegar. Okay, anyway, I think what you were saying about Brittany is very similar to Alana. She's a very adventurous eater now, and as an adult, she loves Asian food. She loves, yeah, I think, embracing her culture. But I think growing up, yeah, she probably just didn't feel as comfortable with that, and maybe just wanted to fit in, you know?
It's weird. Like I know you touched on the like mixed process, growing up mixed, and like what you I feel like with you see this in your family, and then like me and my sister, you still have someone who is trying to latch on to like a culture or like an identity, and
Mm-hmm.
like the normal, which would be like uh more American, would
Mm-hmm.
be like your younger sisters. And then I think when you go lean more Asian or like whatever your mix is, you try and find like whole grasp onto that cultural
Yeah.
point. Because I know for me, whenever it was a chance to like represent or be Asian or like be into the Asian thing, I was like, this is what I want. This is what I want to be a part of.
Yeah. Same. Like, I think finding like minded people has just always been a search for me. And that's in like every aspect of my life, because I have so many interests and hobbies and whatever. That's like I'm always trying to find people that like the same things as me or I can connect with about a shared experience or a shared culture. And I just find myself like diving into these different like worlds of people because I'm just always trying to connect. And I think, yeah, like the Asian part of me that maybe isn't as like visually seen with like my physical appearance, I really try to like show in either like the food that I eat or I don't know, the support of different like media that I give to just support like Asian culture and everything. Oh no, you're frozen. And we are back. Justin's Zoom just completely closed out for no reason. So
Sorry.
I
Sorry to
have
interrupt you on your
started.
poignant thought.
Oh, I mean, I believe I finished my thought, but I did start eating some shrimp chips. So I think we should do a little ASMR moment before we get back into our therapy session.
Okay, I have mine too.
Ready?
Uh,
Mm, it's so good. I'm gonna
God
eat
dang
two
it.
more.
I was gonna say, now that it's in my mouth, I need to have a couple.
Mm.
Ah, those are good.
And it's like a little past lunchtime, so I'm like, what a great appetizer.
You know, I saw it on there. Oh, you know, it's our internet that went down. This is
Oh
the problem with
no.
three people working from home.
Yeah.
Our internet's been so shit lately.
Ugh, that's
Um,
awful.
what are you gonna do? Uh, what was the point of life?
Well, so before we got back on recording, we had started chatting a little bit about where we left off, and then you asked me a question, and I was like, wait, we
Oh
should
yeah, yeah, yeah.
record.
So I don't know if you said this in what you were saying at the end of that, but do you think that being like the weirdo or like trying to find a place or finding like-minded people and you saw comfort in like your Asian side and you're able to connect with people on that level, do you think that you like seek that more in what you like were eating or in what you were um like trying to maybe hobbies that you got into? For example, when I in high school or like when I started getting into K-pop when I was like younger or like um anime or any of those kind of like really Asian um things that people were like Asian cultures were involved in or understood. Like I feel like part of it now looking back, it was like, oh yeah, of course I was getting more into that and I stayed um interested in those things because it was the only part of like my identity that I felt connected with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I haven't gotten into like Asian media, I guess, as much as you have, and like a lot of people have. But I still have like such a love and appreciation. And my mom in the past year has become a BTS stan, so
We love mom.
definitely definitely get to watch the music videos. Oh my god, the other day when they did the MTV Unplugged and they covered Coldplay, she
Mm-hmm.
literally pestered me for at least 24 hours. She's like, "Have you watched it yet? Have you watched it yet? Have you watched the side-by-side video? Have you watched the vocal teacher breakdown video?" Like she's
She's
like so
obsessed.
obsessed with like proving how good they are. I'm like, "Mom, I love them. You don't need to like convince me that BTS is a great group." Like, I agree. But yeah, I think you're very right with your um theorizing. I think it just connects with like who I am as a person, like, and like I think also being unsure about who I am, I think made me try to find it in Asian culture, gay culture, theater kid culture, you
Mhm.
like because I connect to all of those things, and once I realize that I connect to them, I like hold on for dear life because I'm like, okay, this can help me figure out like who I am. Because I like so many things, sometimes I'm like, okay, does it really even matter? Because I'm not like solidifying myself as a person. But I have to accept that like I do like a lot of things.
Wait, what
I
do you
don't know.
mean?
I think it plays into like I'm queer and can't pick a gender of people that I'm attracted to. I'm biracial. Am I white? Am I Asian? What am
Mhm.
I? You can't tell by looking at me. Um the fact that I have like a bunch of different hobbies and I haven't found quite yet like what my dream career is. Like I'm a very like I want to try everything, experience everything, can't make a decision until I feel it in my heart and soul kind of person. And I think that just in things like my sexual orientation, I couldn't
I
think of
was
the word.
like,
I want to say representation, and I was like, that's not the word. Orientation and my ethnicity, like those are for the most part unchanging, and I don't think I need to like prove myself in any way for those, but because I am who I am and I have so many interests, I think it like those kind of get pulled into my insecurities about like not knowing what my career path should be.
mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like because you've had, I wouldn't say a shaky foundation, but like you've had a foundation that's constantly changing, that it like makes it harder for you to set a solid goal or like pathway to follow, because it's such a like, I don't want to say fluid, nebulous maybe would be a
Yeah.
better word,
Mhm. But
um
that's just kind of who I am
basis.
as a person. I'm
Aquarius,
very
we get it.
like
You get it, you good.
but like I don't know. I haven't found someone to talk to that is quite on my level of questioning literally everything in my life constantly, I think. So it's like, am I really just in this alone? Like this exact experience, you know? But there has been a trend on TikTok lately with like a song where someone says, like, I don't want to pick a niche. Like, I want to do everything or something like that. And I'm like, okay, like there are some people that also have no definite niche. I mean, like food lover and funny person, I think go together, and that's kind of what I've outwardly made my niche as far as like this podcast, my YouTube channel. But then I also like do music. I make collage art, like you know.
I think there's also a lot that I've seen that has a similar feeling, is which maybe you might resonate with more, as the burnt out gifted child.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and like a lot of what you're saying, just on the videos that I've watched, I have not done any research on this. Don't come for me in the comments. I don't want to get canceled.
I've
But
only seen videos and haven't done any research either, so
it seems like it's a similar trend, and I think there's a lot in our generation too, where we, maybe it's just the four in us, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But I think
We're
there's a
talking
lot
about
in ours.
Enneagram, by the way, Snacker, if you don't know.
Here's the
We're
thing,
both Enneagram 4s.
maybe we do have ADHD, and when we talk, like this episode won't make sense to anybody, but our brains are like, we're up here firing at 600 miles
Snackers,
per
we're
hour.
also both self diagnosing ourselves as possible people with ADHD, so
My therapist said I need to get tested for it,
yeah.
but it's hard to find a psychiatrist in my network. Anyways, what was I saying? What was I saying?
Um, dang We've already moved from what you were saying, because from what you were saying was already removed from something else. I don't know, shrimp chips, man.
Shrimp chips, they're good. Snacky, snacky. I've never tried the wasabi one.
I've only had original. Maybe we should do like a taste test someday.
I'd be down. There, I swear they used to have like a spicy version, not the hot
That
garlic,
would make sense.
but I swear there was a spicy version of one.
Maybe it's another brand. Was it not Calbee?
I feel like I was such a Calbee slut that
I know. I didn't even know that there were other brands until like I went to the store myself one day as an adult. You know, because it's like Calbee. Why would I get anything else?
Interesting. Very interesting.
How do you feel about the shrimp chips that are like more chip, like puff chips or like chicharron looking shrimp chips? They're not the same.
No.
They're they're fried. These are baked.
There's also something, maybe I'm just psycho and don't think I'm cuckoo for this, but is when you bite into one, is there kind of like a feeling like a moist center or like an airy center?
Shrimp chips? Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So like that's like what makes it special.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else to describe it, but like I look for that in the chip.
Moisture. It's so bizarre, but they're baked chips.
And then that's how I know when they're bad is when I bite into it and I'm like, oh, it doesn't have that, like it's stale because it doesn't have that in there anymore.
So crazy. Okay, well I found an article on like Calbee shrimp chips, so maybe it talks about it. Okay. I can read it to you. But what were you gonna say?
Thoughts running through my
oh my god, my GarageBand said there's feedback because I just screamed so loud.
Michelle, this is what I mean. I just like sometimes I'm like no thoughts, just vibes 24/7, and it can't be like that because if I want to get stuff done I have to like have thoughts.
No, what you have to do is you have to like while you have thoughts set yourself up for greatness and then go into the no thoughts just vibes, but then you're like have everything ready and then you're like bing bang boom. Like last night I had a lot of thoughts and I was like I want to edit this video that I've been working on, and so I set everything up and then I smoked a bowl and it was no thoughts just vibes, and I edited like I hadn't edited in so long. Like I was having so much fun. Like the editing is gonna make it funnier than it already was, and it was exciting. And then I looked at the clock at one point and I was like, oh my god, it's almost 1 a.m. I don't usually stay up past like 11. I don't know what happened last night. I was eating, do you know what I was also eating? Dried mangoes.
Oh, so there we go.
It's life source. Anyway, no thoughts, just vibes. Why don't you continue to no thoughts, just vibes right now? Eat some shrimp chips while I read you this article that I found. Does that sound like a plan?
I was already dissociating, but yeah.
Wait, can you explain? Because I haven't really looked into it, so I don't know the difference. What's the difference between dissociating and disassociating? Dissociating is the mental thing, and disassociating is like removing an association between you and something else. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess I did know just by using my thought processes. Am I going into no thoughts just vibes right now? I think so. So let me just no thoughts read this. So this is an article. Stop making me laugh. I need to drink some water.
Let me know thoughts. Just read this.
When I read, it doesn't really. I can read without retaining any. I can read out loud without retaining any of it. Is that scary?
I would say that's most Americans. You're not special. They can't read. We're in the ghetto.
I was just gonna say, is that an ADHD thing where I can like completely focus to pronounce things for the most part correctly and have the right intonation with the punctuation, but like not really even pay attention to what I'm saying. Maybe that's just a problem with respecting myself. Okay, I'm gonna read this stupid ass article. It's on Vice.com, so who knows? I was like, do you know what? Vice.com, at least it's gonna be entertaining. I think like that's what we really need. And this is in their like munchies section of their website, Food by Vice. This article is called Calbee Shrimp Chips Are a Food Science Marvel. And no, I don't want to share. I thought that was cute. Subtitle says, like a nice cup of coffee, you've got to give the shrimp chip time to sort of bloom in your mouth. By Bettina Macalintal, Brooklyn, U.S. And this was published January 24th, 2019, 1:38 p.m. Wow, the time and everything.
Thank you for sharing that. If it was at like 1:30 that day, I don't think I would be able to trust the source, but 1:38. Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty good time for a snack, so they published this and they were like, okay, time for people to get hungry for shrimp chips. And then there's pictures of Calbee shrimp chips bags. And it says, welcome to #NotAnAd, where we post enthusiastically and without reservation about things we're obsessed with from the world of food. So that's kind of cool to know that this is like a true opinion. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Are you eating your shrimp chips?
I'm not eating
no
them.
Thoughts, just vibes?
Fully.
Love it. I'm not sure I'm close enough yet to my local bodega owners to make requests, but for the sake of my shrimp chip cravings, I hope to be soon. My bodega... Also, how fucking Brooklyn is this that they're like, my bodega? They're now going to say my bodega twice in 3 sentences. Bodega count.
Okay.
You do it, because I need to read. So sorry, you do have to have some thoughts. You have to have some counting thoughts.
One thought, just vibes.
Okay, don't count this one again because I'm going to restart the sentence. My bodega currently stocks shrimp chips by Nongshim, but to the despair of my late night snacking, I find that particular brand to be a little too bland. The best shrimp chips are from Calbee, who mass-produce them first and who have wielded modern food science like magic to produce the most craveable chip I've ever had. Calbee shrimp chips are like Doritos. Wow, call back to Doritos. Remember when you talked about that earlier?
Did I write this in this article? Is it my Brooklyn bodega?
Oh my god. I'm from Brooklyn. Remember when we went to Brooklyn with our friends and then we all kept saying, I'm from Brooklyn, or was that just me? No comment?
I'm from Brooklyn.
Okay. But anyway, that's funny that you mentioned Doritos earlier. Or whatever chip. I'll just start that sentence over. Calbee. Dang it, so giggly. Oh my god. I'm getting a headache. I also need to eat lunch. Let's wrap this up. We've been on the phone for almost 2 hours. Okay. Okay. Calbee shrimp chips are like Doritos, or whatever chip demolishes your sense of self-control. Why did I start talking like Moira Rose? In that they're engineered to be delicious. Shrimp chips, as you might expect, owe their flavor to a mixture of shrimp, salt, and monosodium glutamate. Oh, you gotta have that fucking
baby.
MSG.
Yeah. There's also, it. Represent.
One day we need to talk about the
campaign against MSG.
Yes, and how racist it is. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Glad we're on the same page. Glad you knew exactly where I was going with that.
Mm-hmm.
That last ingredient is of utmost importance, even if it's the reason why you won't find Calbee shrimp chips on shelves at Whole Foods. Oh, they're going to go into it for us right now. Perfect. We don't have to do any research. Thanks, Vice. Since the mid 1900s, MSG has been used to make processed foods taste even better. Naturally found in foods like Parmigiano Reggiano and mushrooms, MSG is also manufactured as a flavor enhancer for everything from bouillon cubes to chips to ramen. It's got that umami, baby! If something tastes super savory and processed, it's probably got MSG in some form. The additive got a bad rap in the middle of the 20th century due to concern about its health effects, but those claims have since been called out for their anti Asian sentiment and largely debunked by scientific research. Although there's still some stigma attached to MSG, looking at you, Whole Foods, plenty of people worldwide have been enjoying just how goddamn snackable it makes Calbee Shrimp Chips for over 50 years. It's also why shrimp chips don't taste like fresh shrimp necessarily, which at its finest is delicate and even a little sweet, but more like a hyper concentrated caricature of shrimp, as if you licked your finger and stuck it in the powder of a shrimp ramen flavor packet. I'd describe my snack leanings as a need for salt that's best quenched by flavors that veer oceanic. Right behind shrimp chips in my hierarchy of snacks, for example, are pieces of roasted seaweed. Oh, yum! I need to be friends with this with this writer.
That was also a really beautiful way of describing like
Yeah.
a shrimp chip palette.
Mm-hmm.
A slight oceanic leaning.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Fuck me up.
And since MSG was intended to simulate the flavor of seaweed broth, I didn't know that. It's no surprise that the shrimp chip fulfills those cravings. The correct way to eat a shrimp chip is not to down a handful with reckless abandon. I beg to differ. But rather to savor each one. In terms of American snacks, they sort of eat like a Cheeto, but with a totally different flavor profile. They're lighter and more nuanced. Put the chip in your mouth and then crunch down. Immediately, you'll taste salt. Your instinct might be to swallow, to eat another one in an instant, but you should really let it linger. Like a nice cup of coffee, you've got to give the shrimp chip time to sort of bloom in your mouth. Let the chomped up chip sit on your tongue, where the crumbs will disperse its umami-rich mixture all over your palate. If you're patient, the shrimp chip becomes increasingly savory and more delicious. You can, according to several recipes online, make shrimp chips at home fairly easily. You can also buy pre-made discs of shrimp and starch to fry at home. Just drop the rounds into hot oil and they poof into airy crisps. For me, though, that sort of defeats the point. I want a chip to be easy, immediately satiating, and full of MSG. Buying a bag of Calbee does just that. Every immigrant kid has stinky food stories, and I think I realized instinctively, even at a young age, that I didn't want to ruin shrimp chips for myself like that. After all, it's sort of inevitable that something made of processed seafood will smell a little fishy, and opening a bag of shrimp chips in public can be a gamble. So for fear of more sensitive olfactory systems, the shrimp chip has always been something I ate alone or with my family, who can handle a little funk. But that's okay. I like having a snack that's all mine. When I buy a bag of Calbee, nobody asks me for a piece. I can sit alone for a few moments and savor the salty rush of shrimp. That was beautiful. Oh my god. Bettina Makalintal, whoever you are
We know
a
you're
word
listening, and that was amazing.
Smith.
Thank you so much, listener.
That was really fantastic. Well, thoughts, emotions, feelings. I think they really said a lot of things that we had touched on and wanted to touch on in the future, but they already covered it for us. That was great. Maybe one of the best articles I've read.
Very good food article. Very good. I think it is. It's like what we talked about, how like the shrimp chip really is a universal snack for a lot of like immigrant or like ethnic
Children
people.
of immigrants. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's just, it is one of my top, I would say top 5 snacks for sure.
Mm-hmm. And it's simple enough that like you can be in the mood for it basically all the time. Cuz it's not, that's the thing. It's that MSG, it's the slight oceanic flavor. It's not exactly like you have to be craving shrimp. It's
Mm-hmm.
its own thing, and it's just that umami.
I think also how light it is makes it such an easy
Mhm.
snack too.
Yeah.
Where you're snacking on it too, and because it has that umami flavor, you're never gonna overeat it
Mhm.
because it hits like whatever craving you're gonna get.
Yeah, there's a stopping point.
Yeah,
There's a stopping point. That was a very startling sneeze.
I'm scared.
Well, anything else you'd like to say about shrimp chips or snacks or anything? Would you like to plug anything?
Yeah, well, that's what I like to say. Everyone has their stinky food stories. I think it's obvious. Like, yes, obviously, don't open up on like a train or airplane, like confined areas. But I think we should try and normalize eating different culture kind of snacks and be more brave of like sharing our snacks in the world.
Me too.
Get more people used to the funk that is whatever you're eating.
Because the funk is delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shows on Food Network where the host goes and tries like non white food, basically, or like food that not a lot of people outside of the culture that the food is from usually eat. Like, I have so much respect for Andrew Zimmern because he just lovingly embraces every experience with food that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And his palate is so well developed that he can find the deliciousness and beauty in like everything that he eats. And I think that's so admirable, especially as a white man. Like, he has completely, you know, at least with the food that he eats and the people he meets and how adventurous he is, he has been able to overcome what society has, I'm assuming, pressured onto him in terms of like what is acceptable for a white man to eat
Mm-hmm.
and do with his life and the people that he interacts with. Um, so, not all white men.
Um,
Snackers, Justin's just making little duck faces basically right now.
not all.
Anyway, yeah, I think we should all just like start eating everything. If it's not going to kill you, why are you depriving yourself of joy?
Kelly Clarkson didn't write that song for us to not snack.
What song?
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Snack a little wider.
Ooh. Should we do a whole snack time parody of that?
I mean, I
Ideas.
have been warming up my throat for a vocal.
A vocal performance.
Yeah. Do you think you'd be good at Mandarin?
Speaking Mandarin?
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know if the window for me learning a language is still open in my brain.
Oh
Like
my gosh.
my actual like ability to learn a language. You know how you like most adults lose that basically
Mm-hmm.
as they get older. I don't know, but I think if I was going to spend a lot of time to learn a language right now, it would be Tagalog, which I was like trying on the apps for a while, but I think I like one day need to just like sign up for an actual like class because it'll just hold me accountable more. And I think I learn really well in like the stereotypical classroom setting. I think I could do it like online too probably, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I
those games don't really work very well for me.
I after we wait, what were oh, when you did your Gudetama
Mhm.
episode, I was like, oh yeah, I want to wonder if like my Japanese is still okay. So I was like looking into just like review things I could find online. And then I was like, oh, it would be cool to learn what the East, like the big three. East
Mm.
Asian languages. And I guess Korean and Japanese have a really similar grammatical structure. So,
Oh.
and so I was like, oh, that would be cool to like learn Korean and Japanese. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, whoa, what about Mandarin? And I did like one of the, I know this is really interesting for all of your listeners. I'm so sorry this is going on,
No,
but
I think it's really interesting.
I did one of those lessons on YouTube that I was just kind of like repeating back, and I don't think I could do the intonation. The intonation is
Mm.
really hard for me. Where I
Yeah.
think the like Korean and Japanese consonants and vowels are much more, they're easier to grasp.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to learn Hangul right now, so that way I can read a little bit of Korean, and it'll help me kind of understand what
Mm.
it's at. But so many resources.
So what are you using to try and learn?
So I found a bunch of Hangul practice worksheets that I've
Mm.
downloaded to my iPad. And so I practiced some of those. And then I've got a couple Speak With Me Korean and Japanese podcasts that
Mm-hmm.
I've just been kind of like playing through. I started Japanese last week just to kind of review everything. And then Korean, I started today earlier. And I listened to a couple of those. But I think that's going to be like my goal for this year is to try and like learn more of those. I listen to so much K-pop now that it's like I might as well.
Yeah.
And they have so many Korean movies on Netflix now. I didn't notice that. If
Oh.
you watch Parasite, the
Mm-hmm.
sister, she is in the movie on Netflix that was recommended. But I think I'll send it to you. You should watch it.
Okay. Yeah,
I forget what it's called
I
though.
will. Love it. Love connecting to our culture. Love eating shrimp chips. Love having you on the pod, Justin. Obviously, you have to come back. What were we saying that we need to talk about? Oh,
The
the
Korean
the
pizzas.
Korean pizza. Oh, yum. Yeah, we should do that. Is there anything you want to plug before we go?
My Insta and my Twitter are at underscore JUMILO. I mean, that's it. That's all I got to plug. My
Cool.
Venmo is at JMICHAIL. If you feel like you just want to send some money for like coffee or some bag of shrimp chips, like feel free.
I really hope someone does send you money. That would be incredible. Well,
So
Justin,
there's
again, thank
that.
you so much for being here and sharing shrimp chips with me because, oh, I freaking love shrimp chips. And I already had this snack, so I didn't have to go get it to actually eat it. Like, sometimes with these episodes, either we're recording at a time that it's like I just had dinner, or it's like early morning where I'm like, I'm not going to eat a snack right now. Or it's like, I don't need to go to the store for any other reason, so I'm not gonna go to the store just to get like one snack kind of thing.
Mhm.
But shrimp chips I already had, so it was perfect. But yeah, so thanks again, snackers. Thank you so much for listening. If you like shrimp chips, let us know. You can like comment on the post on Snacktime Pod on Instagram. You can tweet at me at Marnofo Show on Twitter. If you're listening to this on YouTube at Marnofo Show, comment it in the comments. And make sure you're
Like, comment below
subscribed.
what your favorite Calbee snack is and share this with your friends.
Yeah,
Like and
okay.
comment below.
Yeah, everyone share this so more people can join in on the snack time fun and become snackers. And yeah, so I hope you are having a great day. I hope you eat some good food today. And I'll see you next time at snack time. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.